It's your host, Kevin Oldham, back with another episode of Franchise My Business, the podcast for franchisors, hosted by franchisors. And we're going to dive deep into a conversation that I think just is a common franchise stuff. And kind of the way I think about this, we have a saying in our family that communication, like if we communicate, we can get through anything. Okay. And I think that really is a good analogy for kind of franchisee and franchisor. Think about the franchisor as kind of the parent that the franchisee is the kid is looking to for guidance, mentorship, leadership, all of these things. Like you have that predetermined relationship just by the nature of franchisee and franchisor's relationship. You're dependent upon each other, but there's always a lot of communication coming from the franchisee, from the franchisor to the franchisee about new programs, new systems, new ways to do business, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times, the franchisees don't necessarily feel heard. Okay. And so, that's why franchise advisory councils exist and all sorts of other things. But I think that if you build a culture that is built on open and productive communication that is all designed for, the outcome for the greater good, right? For the greater organization, that can solve a lot of issues and friction. And friction's, by the way, part of the game. When you sign up as a franchisor, you have this grandiose vision and, you hope that everybody buys into your vision and then adopts it and does everything the way that you've kind of proven yourself. But the reality is we're all humans and humans are complex. We have emotions, we have internal variables, we have external variables, and everybody's dealing with stuff at any point in time. You never know how heavy their proverbial backpack is full of emotional stuff, could be personal things. All these things impact that relationship, that business relationship of franchisee and franchisor. So one of the things that I think is a good tip is to keep communication open. If you don't have a culture of open communication between franchisee and franchisor, consider ways to do that and make it so that it is it's productive, right? It's results oriented. It's very easy that, and I've seen this time and time again, that as a system grows, that some of the franchisees will kind of bind together and almost kind of unionize, looking for improvements, looking for change, looking for all those things. And if you're a franchisor, that's a sign that you need to listen, okay? Because if you've got a group of franchisees that are having an issue, it could be systemic, right? And that's something that you want to not only hear, but also collaborate with them to build a result that works for the entire organization. And it just comes down to having productive, open, results-oriented communication, okay? And it's really, really hard because business is emotional. I think franchisees, we look at our franchisor as the source of truth for everything, and rightfully so. I mean, if you're buying into a business in a box, you want to have as many kinks ironed out as possible. And if there are kinks, you want to be able to go to the Zor and be like, hey, here's something that I found a gap in the process or something that my customers need that we haven't figured out yet. What's the best way for us to work together to make this happen? And then it's up to the Zor to look at resource allocation, whether or not it's something that the organization can do, and whether or not it makes strategic sense. I'll go back to the question that we always asked at my last company. I think this is a noble question to ask when you are running a franchise system. Anytime you look at doing a new initiative, I don't care what it is, it could be something outside of your franchise, but keep in mind, you do something outside of your franchise system, it's going to take away from your franchise system. So everything that you do, everything that we did, we always ask this following question as a management team. Is this good? Is this a net good, net positive thing for our existing franchisees? And that was something we took very seriously. because every single day we come in to serve those franchisees. Without them being successful, we're not successful. People don't have jobs. Like, it just does not work, right? And so we took that question very, very seriously, and just slowing down and being like, okay, if we're thinking about building, let's just say a strategic partnership, fill in the blank, strategic partnership does not matter what it is. Asking the question, is this strategic partnership good for our existing franchisees? Yes or no? If the answer was no, there was probably about a 95% chance that we did not do it. Okay. Because that was like a red flag, because those are the people that we come in to serve every day. That's our infrastructure. Those are all the things that have got us to where we are today. And when you have these things that come up, remember that the communication aspect, as long as it's productive, open, and results oriented, can solve a metric ton of issues, help you get through that friction. And there will be friction. There's friction in business. There's definitely friction in the franchisee-franchisor relationship. There's friction everywhere. Your job as a Zor is to go out and reduce that friction, listen to your franchisees. You don't have to do everything they say, by the way. I mean, some of their ideas may not be things the organization wants to do, but it is your job to listen and to take into account what they're saying, and then furthermore determine if it makes sense for the organization to do it or not. So I got a new mic. So if you're looking at me right here, I hope that the audio quality sounds really cool. I like it because it's a Rode. I don't know. My other one died. So new mic. I wanted to record this episode and share with you that alignment is huge. And if you have problems with that, just hit me up. Like, I'm kind of an expert at defusing bombs and things like that when it comes to Z's and Zors and being able to help people through that process. Until next time, I'm your host, Kevin Oldham. I have 2 asks. Number 1, if this episode resonated with you or somebody maybe you're thinking about that is struggling with organizational issues, please go ahead and text a link to this episode right now. And then number 2, the number 1 thing that I can get from you in support of this show is just to subscribe on the platform that you're listening to right now. That would mean the world to me. It gives us feedback that what we're doing here at Franchise My Business is valuable, keeps us going. And until next time, I deeply appreciate you listening, and I hope that you have a phenomenal day.